Welcome to Coffee Talk with Liquidshano 1973, an inspirational podcast about the ups and downs of life and everything in between. Here's your host, Shane Lakita.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Coffee Talk with Liquidshano. I'm your host, Shane Lakita. If you don't know, and if you do know, welcome back, guys. Welcome back to another episode. I know last time we talked a little bit about getting some people in for interviews. I have an interview coming up soon, probably about midpoint this week. Maybe like Thursday is when I'll be able to release it, so that way you guys can all catch it and see it and feel it. It was an amazing interview that I did with an individual that does woodworking, and he makes custom cutting boards, right? And that's how I kind of met him, and we were chatting about stuff, and he was on the social medias, just kind of like showing people his process and things like that. And then I got to know him a little bit better as a person and as a friend, and I realized all of a sudden his story is amazing. His story really makes some people, somebody that's out there that's trying to be able to achieve great things or trying to be able to push forward and be great and all those things. When you listen to his story and you hear what the man has been through overall to get to where he is right now and constantly, continuously working throughout to try to continue to be better, you'll be amazed and inspired. And I was honored to have him on the show. So I'm looking forward to that. It's about an hour and a half or so is what the length of the podcast itself is when I do release it later this week. I'm going to put it out probably on Thursday, maybe Friday or so. But this is my regular episode. This is the regular episode of Coffee Talk with Liquidshano. I had an idea of what I wanted to do, but I just opened up dialogue. I just thought about something. Like, I'm going to take a little bit of a right turn, Clyde, if you can believe that. I want to talk to you a little bit around what we see with people. What you see up front and personal, what you see on the social medias, what you see on photos, and what you see with different things, and how it changes your point of view, and how you can look at things and you judge people or things in general based on what you see in a photo, in a video, in something that has to do with social media or anything like that. It doesn't even have to be social media. It could just be a Polaroid picture, or it could be a Kodak moment, or whatever it is. And we see these types of things, and this is the only really visual that we have, especially if we're not in someone's life all the time. It can really be deceiving, right? Both directions. So we're going to get into that a little bit. And I'm also going to get into a little bit of what I call perseverance, okay? So one of the big things that we had, I'm going to start off by saying this. This last week, we had a resurgence, like a reacclimation and a reintroduction to our Facebook page called No Finish Line Nation. If you have not seen No Finish Line Nation, please log into your Facebook page and pop over and visit some of these amazing individuals that are fighting like crazy to continue to move forward, whether it's trying to be healthy, whether it's trying to eat right, whether it's trying to live longer, whether it's just trying to be the best version of themselves. And we have like 36,000 people on that page. And it's been pretty quiet and dormant for a while now, because I talked a little bit about it on one of my lives and on the social media on how people get really quiet. They get really quiet when they're not successful, or they get really quiet when they're in this space of, I'm ashamed, like I talked about on the last podcast. So if you haven't heard the last podcast, please do me a favor and pop over and listen to it, because it's going to really lend well into the conversation that I'm going to have here today. So after all this time that we've been sitting back on the Facebook page, and, Jonathan Giordano, who's otherwise known as the Mud Hustler, and I, we wanted to put together some really big events for people to be able to come to be able to celebrate and all those things. And we had a really successful one in Boston, and we were riding high, and then we decided to go out to Scottsdale, Arizona, and the powers that be made it be that there was other events happening on the same exact weekend at the same exact time, planned or not. It just happened that way. And we had all kinds of different stuff going on. We had multiple people going to different places in the country. Some people out in I think it was somewhere in Mesa, Arizona, or even earlier in the month. Some people going to the same events or whatever. So it lightened the load for us. And I know that John and I, and this is one of the first times I've really talked about it very much. I mean, I've had little conversations here and there about it, but it really, really did some damage to both John and I. We invested a lot of money and a lot of time and a lot of energy for for a great show. Now, not to say that the show wasn't amazing, because the folks that were there had a great time, and we had a blast, and we just connected, and we bonded, and all those things, which is really the overall purpose of it. But when you are running a show like this, and you're trying to be able to create an entertaining yet really, really good event for people to be able to be involved with, and it falls slightly short of the goals that you wanted to set to. Plus, we had some sponsorship problems and some other stuff that was going on. A lot of stuff that goes on. Anybody that's ever thrown a big event knows exactly what goes into details, right? Whether it's the food, whether it's the entertainment, whether it's whatever. So you really have a lot of balls going in a bunch of different directions, and you're just trying to figure it all out. So neither here nor there, I wanted to bring that up to you because there's something to be able to discuss around the fact of, on top of what my last podcast was about being embarrassed and hiding and not talking much. It was very similar to John and I when we went out to Scottsdale, Arizona, and we got back from there, and we felt defeated, and we felt like we were a failure, even though many people told us that they had such a great time. It was life-changing. They enjoyed every single moment, and it was a really great event. But it was one of those things that we just felt defeated, and we felt down in the dumps. And I kept on thinking to myself, is this whole thing really worth it? Now, I'm not looking to make $1 million. I'm not looking to do anything like that. But here's the thing, right? You do want to make a profit off of where you're at, so you can throw more events, so you can throw more things to be able to hang out with each other and do different things and throw these things. But when the money comes out of your own pocket, and then all of a sudden you're kind of you're out there, right? You put your stuff out there, and then not as many people show up to it, and then it kind of ends in a failure in our mind. It can be devastating, right? It can be devastating. So we went into hiding, both of us, really. That was the last straw for us to be able to go into hiding. And then right after that, pretty much, if you think about it, that was 2019, I think, is when we went to Scottsdale. And then we were able to go through something fun and exciting called COVID, right? COVID came around. It smacked us in the face. It made us be stuck indoors. It made us shelter in house, all these different things, wear masks all over the place and all this stuff, because the world was basically shutting down. So your gyms were no longer accessible. The things you might have done before that were indoors that you might have been able to have a routine or anything like that were kind of gone, because people didn't really know what direction to be able to move in with that, right? So we had all these different avenues and all these different things that were happening during this time frame from 2019 all the way up till, I don't know, maybe the earlier part of this year, where we were all just in this whirlwind of emotion, right? But I thought of something that somebody had sent to me once. They sent it to me a while back, and what they had said was that I'm grabbing my phone right now just to be able to give you a heads up. So basically, they sent this to me, and I wanted to read this to you. I wanted to read this quote to you. It was a quote on perseverance. And the quote itself says the following: perseverance is the hard work you do after you get tired of doing the hard work you already did. Now let's think about that for a second. Perseverance can come in many different forms, right? Perseverance can come through trying to make sure that you are diving through and trucking forward and putting one foot in front of the other, even during times when it doesn't feel like you should be, or you can, or your body won't let you, or anything like that. Perseverance is fighting through, right? Perseverance also comes in the form of when the mind gets in this place where it's like, I'm stopping. We're all set with this. And you battle through that as well, the mindset and all those things. Perseverance can come in many different forms. I mean, all kinds of forms. And anybody that has a high amount of perseverance with whatever that they're working with, you know them and I know them. You see them from afar, that can battle through the demons and battle through the muck and the mire. Those people are admirable, yet they have drive and dedication to continue moving forward. Now, let me tell you, I think most human beings, do not have all that much perseverance. Now, I'm not saying we don't have any, because I think we all have some. But to have that extra level of perseverance, I think, is a gift. Because most humans, we usually take the easiest path of resistance. We usually go down the road of going, okay, so I know what works. I know where I'm at with it. I'm going to stick with what I know because this is just where I'm at. I'm not going to I don't like change. How many people you know of have used the term or used the phrase, I don't like change? I don't like change in general. I don't like change in my life. I don't like change in my atmosphere. I don't like change in my workout routines. I don't like change in jobs. I don't like change in anything, family, et cetera, right? So we don't like change because we're not willing to put in the work to persevere through it, to get through it and do the things that we have to do to continue to be rock stars that we are. And that's the difficult part. I mean, if you think about it, at the end of the day, we're all in this whole rat race together. And we've got to learn how to persevere. We got to learn how to put the one foot in front of the other, even when we don't want to. Now, I'm not saying to go all in all the time, because I know that that's not a very safe and healthy mentality as well. But perseverance can come in many forms and many different volumes. When you're going through something, you can ratchet it up to a 10 to persevere and fight through like hell and go after everything you got to go through and be the loud, obnoxious, crazy, let's go, we're going to get through this, we're going to do this together. Or you can also be the one that turns it down to about 1 or 2, but the perseverance is still there and you're still fighting the good fight and you still continue to move forward. For those people that are in the space of trying to lose weight or be healthy or those kind of things, how many of you have lost weight at any given time? You fought through it. You did everything you had to do. You might have hit goal, or you might be towards the goal. You feel really good about yourself. And then all of a sudden, the months go by and drama happens and life happens. Then you start eating poorly. Then you start not working out. And you start not doing the things that you know are working for yourself. So then you start to gain weight. You start to gain weight. You start to get fatter. And you start to gain more weight than what you were actually before you lost the weight that you wanted to lose. How many of you been in that situation? I can guarantee you, I would say probably 97 to 98% of the folks on this podcast right now listening to my words knows exactly what I'm talking about, because you've been there, because you know it. You know exactly what I'm talking about, because I've been there. Multiple times I've been there. And the thing about it is that when I look at the amount of perseverance that I have, did I want it bad enough? Did I want to continue to move things forward? Or was it just more about the, element of trying to win and losing, and it was exciting and et cetera, but then when it gets to the point where I'm at a leveling plateau or a place where I feel like I'm in a good spot, I then lose all of the momentum that I had from before, and I don't persevere through the noise. I don't persevere through the laziness. I don't persevere through the cockiness, or I don't persevere through that feeling of, oh yeah, I'm here finally. I've made it. I've made it to the Mecca. I've made it to the apex of whatever it is that I'm trying to be able to fight through. Well, have I? Because the perseverance part of it is when I start to have those thoughts, it's fighting through it. It's fighting through it no matter what. After you've already done all the things that you have to do to be able to continue moving forward, perseverance is doing the extra to be able to continue to push forward in those times where it's easy to sit back and it's easy to get lazy and it's easy to take a nap and it's easy to grab the pillow and it's easy just to be able to take a break and say, I'm all set. This is great. Yes, kumbaya, right? But perseverance kicks in more so when you decide this is what I want. Now, here's the question. Whatever it is that you're fighting for, whatever it is that you're in tune with right now, you're working on, whatever your goals are you trying to get a promotion at work? Are you trying to become financially sound, pay off all your debt and keep moving forward? Are you trying to lose weight, pounds or inches from the body? Are you trying to increase on your speeds, whether it comes to runs or marathons or canoe races or whatever else, whatever it is that you are working on right now, whatever it is you're working on, is and are you 100% committed to getting there? Are you 100% committed to getting there? And not only getting there, but when you get there or if you get there, because I don't like using the word if, I like to use the word when, because we're all destined to be great somehow, to be able to continue moving forward. But if it's important to you, know what your game plan is going to be after you get there. Know what your game plan is going to be, how you have to persevere through that mental challenge, the mental crud that you're going to be going through. I know personally that my mind is not always in the right place. So a lot of times we're not successful with the things that we're doing because we're not doing the mind work that needs to get done. We're not making sure we're a little bit more fixed upstairs, and our passion isn't necessarily drawn in as much as we need it to. I believe wholeheartedly if you want something bad enough, you can get it. If you want something bad enough, you can get it. But you got to do the work. And you got to persevere. And you got to fight through the noise. And you got to fight through all the stuff that you see and all the stuff that you're hearing in your circle or on social media or on the television or all these different stuff, through all these fads and schemes and everything else you got going on and all this anger and posturing you see out there. At the end of the day, if you want it bad enough, if you want something bad enough, you can go and get it. You just have to go and get it. And if you're not willing to put that work in, if you're not willing to adjust, pivot, and make sure that you are making the right turn to be able to go around that boulder that's standing right in front of you or whatever, if you're not willing to do those things and invest in yourself and make sure that you're worth the investment and you continue moving forward, if you are not willing and ready to do so, you will not be successful. I know. I speak from experience. I speak from looking at myself in the mirror and going, each and every week that passed, going, man, you're gaining weight. What are you doing? If you want it bad enough, you're going to keep fighting for it, no matter what the circumstance is, no matter what the situation is. And it may not be at the lightning speed you once had when you were 19 and 20 years old, and now you're in your 50s or 40s, and now your metabolism has gone way down, and you're like, man, I just don't get this. I don't get why I can't lose weight. I don't get why I can't be healthy. I don't get why I can't go run 9-minute miles. I don't understand all this stuff. So then you get frustrated and the perseverance goes out the window because now you're at the point where you're just going to give up. And you're like, all right, I'm all set. I'm all set. This is too hard. It's too difficult. But as we age and as we get older, things happen. Our body starts to slow down. Our mind starts to slow down. All these different things. So we have to be preventive. And we have to persevere through all those things, whether it's menopause or whether it's hormonal imbalances or whether it's aging or osteoporosis or, shrinking or bone density or anything like that. As people age, their body starts to break down. And the problem is a lot of people go, you know what? Oh, that's what this means. I'm just getting older and it's impossible for me to do so. Yet every day I look online, I look on television, I look in all these places of stories of perseverance at any age, 70s, 80s, even 90s, to fight through what society says an old person has to be or a body that's breaking down has to be, to fight through it and persevere through all the noise, the nonsense, the drama, the rumors, the misinformation, all the different stuff. But why do you think people are successful at that age when they get to the age of my body's going to start breaking down and all those things? Why do you think they're successful? Because they want it more than others do. They want it more than anything. They continue to fight the good fight. They continue to put the work in. They continue to work on the perseverance, and they understand the dynamic of it's not going to go as fast as what it once did. You're not going to lose weight as quick as you did before. Your body is going to be sore after those walks that you used to be able to do for miles and miles, and now you do one and it's a little bit sore, but you keep fighting. You keep persevering. You keep going after it. Nonstop. You got to go for it. You're worth that investment. And that's the issue. I don't think, and this is just me, I don't think people think that they're worth it. I think we have a certain ego, or I think we have a certain amount of pride and those kind of things of ourselves. But I think that we are our own worst critics. And at the end of the day, we doubt ourselves. We sell ourselves short. We make excuses of all those things I was just talking about around age, around environmental. What I can't go for walks right now. It's like 110 degrees outside. Or I can't go for a run because it's snow outside. I can't do the things that I'm going to do because it's COVID. I could still go outside on a trail and go for a walk and stuff like that, but I don't because I make excuses because I don't want it bad enough. I don't want the things that I say that I want bad enough. Now, there's one of two directions you can go in with that. If you don't want it bad enough, maybe you got to change the way you look at it. What's the lens you're looking at? How bad do you want it? And what's the real reason that you want to be able to get to where you have to get to? Right? You have to ask yourself that question. Is it really worth it for me? And if it is, why? What's the reason that this is worth it for me? Is it because I want to live a long, healthy life to be with family? That's a good enough reason. Trust me. That's a hell of a good reason. Or is it because, I don't know, I don't want to age and get to the point where people are having to take care of me. I want to be a self-sufficient, independent elder and be able to do the things that I have to do. That's a damn good reason. But these reasons have to be good enough to make sure that it drives you to be the best version of yourself and to continue moving forward. So perseverance is crucial. It's important, but it's also something that you have to work on. Not everybody has high perseverance. Not everybody has the fortitude to be able to plug through all the stuff that they have to do. So there's a couple things you have to do. One, surround yourself with hype people. Surround yourself with people that you know are going to be in the boat where if you go, I want to go for a run, somebody says to you, I'll go with you. Or, hey, let me pop onto the GPS if I'm not around and I want to see where you're going and how's it going and I want to root you on. Or, yeah, damn right, and give you high fives and whatever else. Those are the type of people that you need to surround yourself with, and not the types of folks that will look at you and say, you did this before. Remember back in the day when you did this? It was a bad outcome. Why are you doing this to yourself again? Why don't you just go diet, or why don't you go do whatever? All these things. You're surrounding yourself with the wrong people if you don't have people that want to hype your goals and get you to where you have to go to. Simple, plain, and it just drives me crazy. And the reason it drives me crazy is because I have some of those in my life. Now, they're not rude about it, but they are the types that are like, listen, you struggle with weight all your life. So what's going to make this time any different? I know they're trying to come to me from a place of love and affection and encouragement and things like that. But no, they're just basically breaking me down. And maybe they're breaking me down because they don't feel that good about themselves or whatever. But the first thing you have to do, if you want to be able to have that perseverance to be able to fight through and do the things you want to do, surround yourself with a good hype team. Surround yourself with a good hype team that also will hold you accountable as well, right? I'm not saying they're all nothing but unicorns and rainbows all the time, but they're the people that you know that if you don't do the things that you want to do and you've set goals out to do so, they may give you a little bit of a nudge. Hey, are you going to work on that? Like, what's going on? Let's do it together or whatever, right? The second thing is, make sure whatever it is you're fighting for is, one, attainable, and two, make sure it is important enough to fight through the dark, tumultuous times that are ahead. Let me repeat that one more time for the people in the back. Make sure what you're prioritizing, and make sure that what you find to be a value that you want to fight for has to be important to you, so important to you that you can't breathe without it. You got to keep on fighting through it. It's got to become important, not just a nice nice to have. It'd be nice to have that, or nice to go that direction or whatever, something like that. And the second that the S hits the fan and the clouds start kicking in and the storm clouds start pouring in and thunder and lightning starts coming around, and they run for the hills or they just give up. It's natural. It's human nature. It's what happens. It's what we do. So you got to find something, or you've got to be able to give yourself the ability to, one, set realistic goals, guys. Don't set something that's so out of the ordinary and so astronomical that you can't achieve it, and then you're just trying to claw and try to fight to be able to get there, and you're never going to be able to because it's not feasible. But if you set smart goals, attainable, realistic goals, where you can sit down and go, okay, this is something that's really important to me. I'm going to set it down into being a bite-sized chunk of the main goal that I want to be able to fight towards, but I want to be able to fight for that no matter what. I want to fight for that because it's important to me. It's in the core of my being. I feel this. I feel as if this is important to me and my family and everything about it. There's a reason why I put it on the paper and in my journal for me to be able to try to fight for that, because it's important enough to me to make that happen. So the key to it is, if you're going to persevere and you're going to overcome adversity and you're going to overcome all the noise and all the stuff that goes on around you, you have to prioritize that item to be one of your top items. to understand that this is very important to me. Almost to the point where I know it's all or nothing, but almost to the point where you think about it as being life or death. If I don't do this, what will happen in my life? I must have this. I must continue to fight the good fight, even if I slow that fight down to be able to meet where I'm at in the whole space in the grand scheme of things, right? Perseverance, guys. Perseverance is extremely important, and perseverance is something that isn't necessarily something you're born with. It sometimes takes work, and it takes work because whatever it is you're fighting for is super important to you. So again, I'll read that quote one more time, and I want you to take it in and let me know your thoughts on it. But perseverance is the hard work you do after you get tired of doing the hard work you already did. I think that that's pretty powerful when you think about it, right? The hard work you already did. Perseverance is working harder on top of the hard work you already done to continue to battle, to put on your armor and go out there and fight the good fight and invest in you and fight the fight for you and your family and whoever else you got to fight it for. Persevere. Let's go and get it. The second part of this podcast was all about what I had said earlier. Do the perseverance part of it. Now you've got a good framework, right? You got a good base. If you got a good base of something you really want and you want to fight for it. Don't stop. Don't let anybody go around you to be able to do so. But the one thing I don't want you to do, I don't want you to base your goals and the things that you're fighting for on other people's achievements or other people's what's perceived to be achievements. I can easily open up Instagram, Facebook, and all these platforms. I can open them up and I can look at them and I see all these wonderful, beautiful faces of smiling individuals and beautiful outfits and all this stuff. And it looks like it's just like the greatest thing ever. And I can live in jealousy to say, man, my family is effed up sometimes. We're upside down. We're backwards. We're all this different stuff. Why can't I have a beautiful like situation like that where they live in a beautiful house and they've got, they're all in shape and they look beautiful and all these different things. And when we look at those things, when we look at all of those items on the social media, it looks like it's a perfect life. It looks like something I want to strive for. Ooh, I'd like that. How can I be like that? How can I continue to dive in and be like the Joneses? Because the Joneses have it all together. And then the old adage of comparison is the thief of joy kicks in. Because now I'm comparing myself to other individuals that may not be real. I mean, I want you to think about that. How many times have you posted a picture where your spouse or yourself or whatever else took a selfie, took a photo, and you had to take 3 or 4 different photos because you wanted the right photo? Oh, my chin, I got a double chin in that one. Oh, I wasn't looking at the camera. Oh, I was looking off crooked. My hair was out of whack. I got all this other stuff. So you take multiple pictures to take the right picture, the good picture, the one you want everybody to see. Well, this is exactly what everybody does all the time. Social media influencers, family, Facebook, all these social media platforms are an easy target for somebody to step back and go, hey, I want you to see what I want you to see. I don't want you to see all the nitty gritty stuff. I don't want you to hear the arguing that we've done. I don't want you to see all the stuff that we had to do behind the scenes with mental health and trying to be able to get focused on things, or the failures that we had in the house, or the financial struggle that we have, or anything like that. I don't want you to see all that. So I'm not going to show you that. And so from a perspective of a consumer on social media, I'm looking at that and I say, oh, wow, look at them. They got it all together. When in all actuality, I don't know their story. You don't know their story. You don't know what's going on in their life, right? You don't know what they've been through. They might have had the hardest life you ever thought of. And you're thinking it's such a good life because they got some nice clothes and they got some nice pictures and they got nice makeup and nice cameras and nice everything else. And you're sitting back going, yeah, I want to be like them. Stop comparing to other people. Don't make your goals based on what other people are doing. Don't base your goals on successes of the Joneses or the Caldwells or the Williams down the road. Don't do it. Because what's going to happen is that's a false reality. It's a false reality. And remember how I said earlier, you got to set smart goals. You got to set attainable and realistic goals. Well, that's part of it. The part of it is now you're not setting smart, attainable, realistic goals because you're basing it on fake reality. It's not even true. It's not even the real deal. Now, don't get me wrong. There are probably situations where there are certain people on social media that are, as true as can be and whatever else. But just remember that every photo that you see, every image that you find, the sunset that you see, the plant that you see, the flower that you see, the smile that you see, all those things, there's a whole lot going on behind the scenes that you don't know anything about. And now you're comparing. And again, comparison is a thief of joy. So not only are we working on perseverance to overcome adversity, to overcome the things that are thrown our way when life decides it's going to throw you some lemons, and how you be able to achieve that and make the importance of the goal that I'm trying to fight for truly important to me, but also make sure it's attainable, realistic, and it doesn't have all the fluff of a comparison of another person, another individual, another situation, another television show, any of those things. You got to step back. You stop comparing. You can't compare anymore. Just do you, boo. You do you. Because if you can sit in the space that you're sitting in and you can come up with some really, really good goals to attain things that you never thought you could attain, and the perseverance will take you to that next level of understanding. Not only will you hit those goals, but you're going to smash those goals because now you've got perseverance, you've got dedication, you've got drive, you've got motivation, you got passion, you got all those things. And it's not based on fake reality. It's based on you and your heart and the things and maybe the people that you love and the things that are going on around you, the important things in your life. These are so important in our journeys. Now, I know this. I'm only sharing this with you because I go through it every day. I battle this demon every day. All the way like I opened up with the fact that we went out to Scottsdale, Arizona, and we felt like we failed, although other individuals loved it, and they had a great time with it. But John and I lost a lot of money. And so we're sitting back going, man, was it really successful? I don't know, man. I really love seeing it. All these things, the doubt kicked in, the anger kicked in, all those things, because we just, we're our own worst critic. We achieve great things together. We achieve great things with the events, with the web page, with the Facebook page, all those things. And these are passionate. We're passionate about them, but I think we started to lose our passion. I think I'm gaining that back now. We're starting to see a lot more traction, a lot more videos, a lot more stuff going on the Facebook page. People are getting more involved. People are coming out of their shells. When John and I both had almost like an admission of guilt on our Facebook posts that we did, the videos that we did, where I was like, I gained a lot of weight, and John was like, I gained weight too, and I need your help. And here we are. People came through like gangbusters. They came out of the woodworks because they love us, and we love them. And that passion that we had at that one time for that page and the things that we're doing, I feel like it's starting to come back again because it's important to us. Outside of failures, you have to overcome adversity to be able to feel strong and keep things moving forward. So we got to persevere, and now's our time for perseverance. Much love to all of you. I hope you have a great day. I hope you have a great rest of your week. And remember, if it's important enough to you, if you feel it's important enough to you, fight for it. Okay? Persevere, overcome adversity. You're worth it, and so am I. Have a great day.
Thank you for listening to today's podcast. Please do us a favor and leave feedback and a 5-star rating on whatever platform that you use.